This is a post-game analysis for our game, Grand Game, within the Hygge HOI community, the 11th of June. We were, I can't remember, 30, 34, 33 players?
Yes, somewhere around the 40, yeah,
Yeah, something like that.
34,
Yeah.
45.
And I don't know, I can't remember now how long it was ago we had an Allies victory, but it ended up as an Allied victory, finally.
I think it was a year in a Grand Game we had a Allied victory and some Blitz victory in January or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. But the Blitz
Yeah.
games are not as important. So in the official track record of things, this was the first time since, yeah, one year, yeah, more than a year back.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's. I think we should just jump into it. For the viewers dropping in, we it will be recorded, so we can always watch later.
Yeah. And we start the Danzig War.
Yes, the first Save Danzig War.
Yeah.
So I think just to give a quick recap for the people listening who didn't watch the game or play the game, I'm just going to take a brief couple of minutes to go through the timeline of what happened throughout the European theater. And then Don will also give a brief summary of the Asian theater, but that would be like half an hour in or maybe 20 minutes later. You will go through that. Um,
I thought we were going through the timelines first and then
okay,
jumping into
let's do that.
Netherlands.
Let's do that. Let's do the
Yeah.
timelines first. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
afterwards we will
Great.
go through the highlights of what's interesting in each theater, basically.
Yeah.
So I have prepared some talking bullets for the Barbarossa save, the Battle of El Alamein, the landings in Italy, and um, and then of course you had some talking bullets also, and some interesting things to bring up from the Pacific Theater.
Yeah. So let's go.
Let's go. All right, so this won't be much to look at the screen since I will basically just go through what happened in the game in the European theater. But basically, I think what started out as a domino effect or a butterfly effect or whatever you want to call it is that for the first time ever, I think, in our game, or for the first time in a long time, we had an Allied win in the Spanish Civil War. So as you can see on the map down here, it's the People's Republic of Spain, which basically meant that the player playing Spain, he left Spain and then played Vichy instead. And this gave a lot of domino effects throughout the game, which made the Allies starting out with an upper hand, and especially Soviets. So um, fast forward to Danzig War. Uh, Main highlights is that the Allies they managed to stop the Germans at El Alamein and the Italians, so they were not able to push through. The naval game in the Atlantic was quite uh, tame, I'd say. Nothing real happened in the Atlantic. The seas were secure from an Allied perspective. And then when Barbarossa started, um, Germany quite quickly ran into issues in the Eastern Front, up
Yeah.
around what do you call it, like yeah, the center here, I think it was, and got cut off, lost a few tanks, and after that they never really recovered in terms of momentum. It was a stalemate for a long time, and then the Soviets started to push Axis backwards, basically.
Yeah. So it was very well played from the Soviet players.
Yeah, and at the same time, since the Allies were never pushed out of Egypt, they were able to go on offensive quite quickly, take control of northern Africa, and started to attack Italy, take Sardinia, course, and then started to do some landings quite quickly. Were thrown out a couple of times, but finally landed in Spain with a proper invasion, and that's also when the Axis called it a day, basically.
Mm.
And at the same time, the Soviets were already pushed into eastern Poland. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums up the broader strokes from the European theater. Anything you would like to add to that?
No, I think that was pretty much it. Everything went the Allies' way this time. The Spanish Civil Wars, Allied victory, El Alamein, Allied victory, and the Eastern Front, stalemate and Allied victory. So
Yeah,
everything that could have gone right.
and also the Finnish the Winter War was also yeah, it usually um, commitarian victory, but it was quite a hard victory this time as well.
Yeah, so everything rolled the Allies' way this time.
Yeah. Um, um, Asian theater.
Yeah, the Asian theater, it was pretty normal China war. Was kind of late or mid 40s before it was ended, which gave us a lot of positives because Japan went to war first at mid of 41. So we were really, really scared. In the mid 1940s, we were way too weak. I had my Raj army in Italy, some units in El Alamein, and we were really, really scared that, yeah, they will attack. We were not ready for it. But we saw them taking the long route, the mid 41 route, and it really boosted our confidence, which made Raj troops be able to mop up Ethiopia and help in El Alamein. So that was the first thing happening. Then we went down to Burma when the war started. I made a small push and took a supply depot. Uh, they counterattacked, and it was really, really close that I lost a lot of Indian troops there, but managed to survive and back off to Calcutta and made a really strong line then there. In the seas, it was mostly sub battles. There was one bigger battle, but not a lot lost. I think it was an Allied victory. The US was victorious, but they lost like two battleships, the Japanese. And then there was a lot and a lot and a lot of sub hunting going on, really strangling the Japanese at the end. So, and we had a lot more yards in the end also. I think the US had double the Japanese yards, and India had like 20 just pushing out submarines.
Yeah,
So I would say that's yeah, in broader terms, what happened in the Pacific.
yeah, yeah. All right. So let's take it from the. Okay, we have a listener writing something. None of the U.S. battleships were done at that point either. I think late Japan was absolutely to our yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But let's take it from the top. So that was the brief strokes of the timeline. So I think if we pull back time again and we have a look at the Spanish Civil War, we,
yeah,
I'm sad to say I don't have a proper save for this. I hoped I had one, but I didn't. But what basically happened when I talked to the German player and the Soviet player about this one was that there might have been a tad of underestimation of the commitment from France and Soviet into this, basically meaning that the Axis players didn't have perfect templates fighting this, and kind of, was not fully committed to the theater. Uh,
yeah,
and it ended up, and basically Soviet and France quickly took initiative and surrounded and pocketed a lot of troops from Spain, gave them the momentum, and then continued to do a lot of nice encirclements, had stronger units, and it slowly progressed in the Allied favor. So, um, and and we will come back to this later on, but what ended up happening for the Soviets was that they got a field marshal that became super powerful thanks to
yeah,
this civil war, and also collected so much experience that they were almost ready with the full doctrine at the beginning of Barbarossa thanks to this. So, I mean, losing the Spanish player and all that industry is one thing that's really bad for Axis, but the double up effect was that the Soviets got the doctrine and a field marshal that was really overpowered, to be honest. So,
yeah. I
yeah,
think they got some good advisors from them too, because they played an infantry build, and I think they got the infantry advisor, which you don't have a Soviet in the beginning. So that's
yeah,
really, really powerful.
that as well. But we will have a look at exactly how powerful it was at the Barbarossa save later. So
Yeah,
that's
but I think
yeah. Yeah, sorry.
I just must say it's easy to underestimate the Spanish Civil War as Axis. You think you will win, and you should win usually, but not committing to it, even have a late game Spain, will cost you a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
So the absolutely best is to really go in, commit everything, and try to kill them off
And to be,
early, so we have a really strong Spain then
yeah,
later on.
and to be honest, Spain is one of the strongest miners as well,
Yeah,
in the Axis team. Um, so yeah, not to be underestimated.
yeah,
But that was the Spanish Civil War. So next in timeline, what's interesting before or in around the same time as Danzig War was the Finnish Winter War.
yeah,
And what happened up there was basically the Soviets uh, giving the Finns a proper punch to nose. According to Jakob, who was the Soviet player one, the Finns lost 9 divisions at least in the in the Winter War, and that's kind of tough to recover from being Finland.
yeah.
I mean, it's not impossible, but it makes you a lot more weak when the real war starts later if you lose divisions in the Finnish Winter War.
I would say the biggest problem is manpower
Yeah, exactly.
because you can build more equipment. You have an okay industrial base, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but look at yeah. So if you have this amount of troops and you lose 9 of them, it's quite it's a big percentage of your troop. Even though it's not it's not fatal, but it's still a heavy punch.
yeah,
All right. Apart from that, it was refreshing to see a Polish player uh, being played and being aggressive. I know, yeah, you can see the battle lines happening already. Um, but I know that the German players commented afterwards that they were happily surprised to see the Poles attack on a broad
yeah,
front. Um, I mean, it's logical because they have this debuff. I'm not sure if it's no, it's not here yet, but that they grow weaker and weaker per day or per week, I think it is, into the war.
yeah,
So it's just natural to see if you can do something as quick as possible.
yeah,
And you see the German tanks here ready to go.
yeah.
Uh,
Just turtle up doesn't work since you will be too weak.
no, exactly. But yeah, so that happened, and then the French battled France, and we also had a Dutch player. Uh, I mean, not too much to mention, to be honest. I think it was quite standard. Holland died quite quickly, and France he gave up a good fight. I think he held out for like 100 days or so before he capitulated. But there
Yeah,
were no large encirclements from the French. Like there were no real damage done to the Germans apart from the time that he bought, which is good, of course.
yeah,
Um, but it was quite a normal outcome, I'd say.
yeah,
Um, yeah. So let's see. Is there anything else regarding this time? Yeah. Let's the naval game.
yeah,
So I played the UK, and as a UK, you kind of have the responsibility to keep an eye out on the lovely Germans, on what they're doing. And what I saw from my end, um, let's see if we have it. Yeah, I had a quite good idea here, as you can see on the intel, uh, what kind of navy he went for, and I noticed that he was starting to build spending his dockyards on screens. So he did like a
yeah,
fleet raiding build early, the German player, and then he went over to subs, which meant that he was no real threat on the seven seas more than harassing. So he built a few battle cruisers that I had to keep an eye out for, but as long as I had more than that, there were no real threat for Asilöve, basically. So going down to the Italians, from my perspective, I was not as good intel, but it went up and down the intel level. But from that perspective, he didn't commit that much either to building. He had some more dockyards and production for heavy ships. So from my perspective, it was also quite an easy matchup since he went for a balanced lineup, but no commitment on the heavy side. So tops 4 more battleships, maximum 8 in hand, which would be easily outgunned from the UK side. So there were no, I mean, from Axis perspective, they didn't really try to challenge on the seas on surface fleet. This was
No.
more, both of them went more for a raiding build, to be honest. So
One shall.
yeah,
Oh, sorry.
no,
Go
no.
on. One challenge the Italians did was they put a lot of troops in Ethiopia, and if we can jump over
Yeah,
and look at it.
yes,
Because I was quite surprised, because the standard thing in our group at least is that Raj takes Ethiopia. That's their mission, that's their goal. This is the first game I think that we didn't have an
Sì,
Ethiopian
signore.
player, since that's all Italian, but they had quite
Pronto,
a lot of
signore.
troops down in Ethiopia. And we were quite sure that the reason was that they wanted to lure the
Formazione.
Raj army away, the Indian army going down there, and be stuck there, so that the Japanese could attack early. We were really, really worried about that because I didn't have time to really mop up, and there was no troops that really could reinforce.
yeah. And you played Rush.
I played Rosh, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
should have said that.
yeah,
So there's quite a lot of units that were lost for no real particular reason, what I can have seen.
yeah. But maybe it's fair to say also we did a rehost for a corrupt game, and in the first run they hold quite well, uh, and that could have caused a lot of issues for if the Japs would have gone for an early attack, that would have
Yeah,
been a big headache. So for that perspective, it could have paid off really well to have some troops down there as Italy. But we haven't asked the Italian player for his strategy during this.
no, we haven't.
Uh,
But very, very fun, very aggressive play. I like it. I really liked it a lot, and it was tough to really beat through. But as you said, we had a lot of rehosts.
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
All right, so I think let's throw ourselves to the interesting save, the Barbarossa save. I don't think.
yeah,
No, there was nothing more interesting there. So this is where most of the interesting stuff happened. June 41.
yeah. So we had
Let's.
both Barb and the Japanese attacking almost at the same time.
Yeah. So what happened was that. Yeah. Let's see. Where should we start? Let's start with Alamein. I think that's a good start. So at this point, we've been fighting it out in El Alamein for more than a year. It's been since the Battle of France, the Germans came down quite quickly to North Africa, and as you can see here as well, the Italians they went for an Arditi heavy artillery build, which is really good to busting forts, along with the medium assault guns from Germany, which is also good at busting forts.
Yeah,
So they went for taking Egypt. What the Allies did here, and as you can see here, there's quite a lot of tanks on the Allied side, uh, and both South Africa and Canada went for a medium armor build, um, feeded by the UK. So from day one, the UK, maybe not all of you know this, I can show. The UK starts with researched light armament 2. No, let's see the outdated one. Here we have the early one. So you start with this 38 tech as the UK, which means that you can build something that actually has okay piercing and hard and soft attack from day one. So already 36, you can start building these. So both the Canadian and the South African player lend-leased these from the UK as well. No, license produced it, as well as I lend-leased them 50-50. So by the start of Alamein, they had 5 tanks each. With the South African player standing on the fort line with me, and then we had a Canadian player in the reserve, and then we had the Irish player going for an hard a heavy artillery build in the back line to be backup. So we had a quite solid defense from the Allied side, not outgunned this time, and we had a very disciplined way of playing defensively, not pushing out. But what happened
Yeah.
was after some time they punched through anyways, and that was primarily thanks to this. We were heavily outgunned in the air by Luftwaffe.
Yeah.
Um, so they punched through, they burned down the forts quite quickly. I couldn't repair them quick enough. And then they punched through after raiding it down. But then what happened was that we managed to counter push, and we had a struggle on these tiles here, these 4 tiles, and this tile here. We were going literally back and forth for a year, just like a pendle back and forth.
Yeah.
And it actually worked good enough for allies to hold the Germans and the Italians until Barbarossa, so they had to pull out. So it was,
I would
yeah,
say
sorry.
it was excellent played by the allies there. Just the coordination and uh, between the players and everyone talking and giving their best. So we did everything coordinated and well planned. And I think that was the key to really.
Yeah. And also, I think the one-on-one matchup between the German tanks and the Allied tanks is also favor allies, thanks to the soft attack build from the Germans here, while as the Allies had more an all-around build. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a flavor thing, but I think that gave a small edge to the Allies as well. That counterweighted
And
the
one
air
thing to
superiority.
mention is your supply hub, which was really, really crucial
Yeah.
because
I
we
think,
had great supply,
yeah, I
even
think.
though we had extremely a lot of troops down there.
Uh, Yeah, 72% on the Canadian tanks, Martin. Or I just took one here. I don't know if that's... Yeah, so it's quite high hardness. I know that the South Africans ones were a little bit more ghetto than the... than the... Yeah, they were 47, yeah. But basically the same stats in attack and defense. And then what UK had, I had these troops. Yeah, with just trying to do some entrenchment with the infantry. Yeah, but it was a really fun fight. I mean, we were at the point of retreating, I think 2 or 3 times, planning on retreating
Yeah.
and giving it up. And actually, since this was first game, we had a 2-tile front. We also planned as you can see here, we had planned a fort here, level 5 fort, and the supply built behind it. So the plan was to retreat up to this point here, and we also the regular built an extra port here, but also built up some stuff down. No, yeah, some extra airports and stuff down here for the fallback, and had a fallback line ready here as well. So we were ready to fall back, but luckily we didn't have to this time. All right, I think. Oh, I am paused. Shit. I have to reload.
Oh,
But let's go to the next thing, Barbarossa.
wasn't this Barbarossa? Yeah, this is Barbarossa. This
No,
is Unit
yeah,
41.
sorry, Barbarossa, but let's go to the actual Barbarossa. The the Eastern Front, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Yeah. Let's
Ah,
see.
this was it was a corrupt save file, or what
No,
happened?
no, 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 no. Yeah, I unpaused, so everything,
Ah, okay.
the AI ruined everything.
Ah, I know. I understand.
All right, all right. So at this point, what happens next, the 14th of June, is that, and let's do it like this, so it's, yeah, is that the Germans pull back from Africa to go up and join their friends on the Eastern Front to be ready to attack Soviets. I can't remember exactly what date, but they did it in the summer and then moved east.
Yeah.
And now is this is where it gets the effect from the Spanish Civil War will take its toll on the Axis players basically. And also what's quite interesting to look at is what kind of army does both sides have at this point in the war when they are launching Barbarossa. But before that, let's have a quick look at the industry. So the Germany is sitting right now with 400 mils compared to the Soviets 400 mils, a few more, 20 more or so. And what's unfortunate for Germany in this perspective as well is that Soviet goes a no air build, so they commit everything to land resources, while as the Germans are going for an air build. And what we learned is that the air meta was redesigned for this game, which meant that if you had low reliability, all planes just crashed. That I experienced and the Germans experienced. So it was basically a lot of resources getting thrown down the drain from Germany on top of that,
Yeah.
with CAS not working properly and so on. So it was like a perfect storm of things in the Soviets' favor when they attacked. Um, yeah, and let's have a look at this. Here's the field marshal as well. So on top of the industry, this is the guy that was having a good time in Spanish Civil War. And look at that one. This is a crazy, crazy, crazy stat.
Yeah, this is crazy. Can we look at the supply consumption for one of the troops?
Yeah,
Yeah, see how low they pushed it.
but just look at that one, and then we have this one as well. Logistics wizard. So 20 minus
Yeah.
plus 25 minus, and yeah, and on top of that, some other good stats. But yeah, let's take. Where do you want me to look?
Supply consumption. So if you go into a unit,
Yeah,
just look at
yeah. Uh, uh, uh,
so
Supply
yeah,
use.
supply use.
Yeah, yeah. You see, minus 20, minus 25, minus 7.5, plus Grand Battle Plan minus 5. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. And this basically means that when you go for an infantry build with Grand Battle Plan as well, you can stack a lot of troops on each other in a very bad supplied area. So
Yeah.
when the Soviets then went for counterattack, they could just swarm with units in an area where the Germans could not, basically, always giving you an upper hand. If you have then the supply hubs on top of that, that makes all the difference. Oh, one thing that I just want to add that I completely forgot about that was crucial for the defense of El Alamein. Speaking of supply, we did this little thing just before the war. We built an extra supply hub on that tile. And that also meant the world of a difference to have stacked all these units here. Usually the defending player only uses the Alexandria port, and when that is taken, all the supply goes away. But since you had an extra supply hub next to the front, and we managed to defend that all the time, that gave us what we needed, basically.
Yeah.
Yes. Going back to
Should we look at some templates?
yes. Let's go. Let's start from the attacking side. But before that, let's look at what we have troop-wise. Like how big of the army did we have? So the
Yeah.
Germans are attacking with fielded 1.7, but what's interesting is that they have 8 medium assault guns for the disposal, and probably no, not building any extra right now. But I suppose they have quite a good production. Yes, they're building quite a lot of them, right? And they have a big stockpile already.
Yeah.
So they will field a lot of more tanks quite soon. And on their side, we have the Romanian player going for a marine build, but only have 3 marines at this point. We have an Hungarian player helping out, going for an armor build, but I know that there were some issues with the armor build, so he started to build tanks quite late, and those are German tanks. So basically,
Motorized.
yeah, and those are not even offensive. So basically 20 wits. So basically nothing to help out with properly. And then we have Bulgaria, who also I think made a mistake early with his build. Um,
Ooh.
so he, yeah, also gap fillers only, to be honest. So we basically
The
have,
Balkan boys are so extremely valuable
yeah,
on the Eastern Front. They're like at least half another Germany.
yeah, exactly. So basically, all these three countries don't have any offensive capability at this point. And then we have the Finns, who already took a heavy beating from the Winter War. I mean, they have some troops, but they will be outgunned quite aggressively. You see, all the good Soviet troops are standing here. It's all
Yeah,
the it's all the mountaineers. So all offensive capability already online, ready to attack. So that's
that's quite standard. It's really, really nice to get Finland out of the way as a Soviet player.
yeah, yeah. So if you look at it from an Axis perspective here, that's what they have. They basically have the fielded to attack. Uh, they have Luftwaffe, of course, that with the new semi-broken mechanic, and then they have the 8 medium armor at their disposal. That's right now down in Egypt. That's basically the offensive capability.
Yeah, because I was going into that. I don't think even the medium armor was up there.
No, it came, but it came up there before. Like, it's not fully the date yet.
Okay.
And then jumping over to the Soviets. Um, yeah, they went for a infantry build. So everything in the front line is 30 wit. Um, basically meaning, and when you have these good generals as well, and you go for a grand battle plan build, it basically means that you can attack with everything that you have online. And you see in these templates, you have all of them can defend okay against armor as well.
Yeah.
Um, they have not that much piercing, but not bad piercing. This will 28.8 piercing. I think that might pierce the German tanks as well. Let's see.
I really love going 30 widths, even with defensive units as Soviet, because you have a few really,
Yeah,
really good generals
yeah,
and a lot of troops, so
the,
you can actually put the troops into the right generals.
yeah. The whole front line of the Soviets pierced the German armor as well.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then they had this reserve of the 40 light infantry that's right now up in Finland. That's the real offensive capability, and that's with heavy artillery. So that's
How
basically
many million men did the Soviet have fielded?
not that much, 3.7. So it's not a huge army, but it's quite expensive with these mountaineers.
Yeah.
This is where most of the IC went down. And what you can see here also is that the Soviets, they went quite quickly for, yeah, you see this, queued up 120 factories on heavy anti-tank guns.
Yeah.
So this will be, I think they pushed this into all of the mountaineers, the light infantry later on as well. So they will be
Yeah.
after killing Finland, basically I think he swapped these to be 50-50. What's the SS division armor? Tag, Martin said something. I might have I might have missed something in the German build.
Yeah, let's see.
Ah, okay. We have these ones as well. View.
Waffen-SS Panzer.
Yeah, okay. So there were another. But does that mean we have? No,
Yeah, they weren't going to
no,
be pierced.
no. Yeah. So they were there were some armor queued up for Germany. All right. But
Something else I heard
yeah,
Soviet players talking about was that their trade were crazy, the trade in.
yeah. So
For me as an economy player,
yeah, exactly. So what happened was also that the US went for a super heavy battleship build, which meant that they could feed the Soviet with a lot of chromium export.
Yeah,
So because they needed to import that, which meant that I think they had, and right now they have 55 extra civs from trade, but at some point they were up to almost 100 from all of allies
yeah,
before the war. So they got a real boost as well. Um, yes, I think that's yeah. So basically, looking from this perspective, and what happened was Germany pushed in, as we said before, made an initial thrust through, got stuck, lost a few tanks, and after that it was just like a stalemate most of the time, slowly getting pushed backwards um, as Axis. A few
yeah.
smaller encirclements back and forth, but like the mere overweight of the Soviet side could slowly push the front line in their favor, basically. Um, yeah, and then what happened was that if we go back down to the Allies, the Allies, after these tanks disappeared from North Africa, these Allied troops started to push to the left and quickly got to Tunis. And at the same time, we had the French player, the Brazilian player, and the Polish player did a landing in West Africa to Vichy and took that side. So we gathered here in North Africa, and then we started to invade Sicily and Sardinia in course. Um, and what happened then was that we were so disciplined and organized, and people started to get feeling and took initiative, which is good. What's not good is that we lost a lot of tanks and a lot of stuff in a pocket up in Rome, and also and also a lot of Marines in Sicily. So instead of collecting everything, plan for one big invasion, we did like smaller spontaneous invasions that got uh, cut off. Yeah, you one most
All
likely.
of the fat
Yeah,
tanks.
yeah. I think the pocket up here, and they landed in Latium, and then they got pushed from Latium into Rome, and it was all like 6 South African tanks, some Polish Marines, and a lot of Brazilian Marines and frontline troops as well. So it was like a proper invasion, but it only had one harbor, and that harbor got counter pushed from the Germans, dropped into Rome, and then got annihilated. And also Canada and me, we did a landing down here in Sicily with Canadian tanks leading an invasion on this tile, and lost 1 or 2 armor on that, and then I lost another 11 Marines up here when they pushed back. So that was also quite stupid, to be honest. But yeah, after that
Yeah,
we
as soon as you get feeling in this game, you should take a glass of water, calm down,
yeah,
and yeah,
yeah. But what happened
it's
later, and we can see we have a last save, but we did like we collected ourselves and did a proper landing, like gathered all our forces and did a proper landing in Spain. And we will have a
yeah,
look at that later because that's the last save. Regarding naval game at this point was basically in the European theater, like nothing really, not much happened on the Atlantic. Germany raided us a bit, but we killed most of the subs and surface raiders. And then I tried to hunt down the Italian fleet, but never found it. Someone found it. I'm not sure if it was me at some point, or I heard that the US fleet came into the Meds and sank the Italian fleet. Not sure if that's true, or if I sank it. I haven't. Let's have a look at save. Who did it? But yeah, but there were no real issue to cross the waters here to do the invasions. Uh, yes. Do you wanna jump over to the Asian theater?
yeah. Jump over. You can go to Raj to start out with. So here in Asia, our plan was to quickly attack Siam because the Axis player aren't allowed to pre-place units there, and we did. We took the supply depot and we went in and killed a lot of Siamese. We also did an invasion in the north, not the north, the south of Siam, trying to cut off their units there, but we did not succeed. Uh, but then there was a stalemate on the Burma front. Nothing much happened. I was defending. They were trying to attack, and finally they got into the line and started to encircle me, and it was extremely close, like 10, 15 times that they really, really killed me off. But I somehow managed to run out for a long time until everything settled down at Calcutta, and then we were pretty fine. Meanwhile, the uh, the US player was island jumping and trying to find the Japanese fleet, but the Japanese didn't build such a big fleet. We had a huge advantage in dockyards. I think, yeah, US had double the dockyards of the Japanese, and I had like 22 dockyards or something. So
59, yeah.
what? Yeah. So what happened was a big, big sub hunting game. And I think Rosen, who played Japan, knew that Francis at the US as the US player were going heavily on subs, and yeah, he was.
Yeah, 144
So
subs.
a lot of naval jumping. I think the Philippines held. It was a new player playing Philippines. Really, really good. So I don't know if it was not a lot happening. It was just 2 years before the capitulation. So, and the Pacific theater is a little bit slow.
Yeah, this is a real fortress.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was my suggestion that since he didn't get any that much units, just go for garrisons
yeah,
because he would have too few to counterattack anyways.
yeah. But this is a
So
solid defense, to be honest. Yeah.
yeah,
All
with
right.
that few mills, how many mills do Philippines have at this point?
10. Yeah,
10, yeah.
yeah.
It's not much. And
Uh,
Manchu, I love the Manchu's units. We can go and check on the Manchu. I think it was Marines or something, or if it was Mountaineers.
he went small Manchu, right?
Yeah, they went small
Light
Manchu.
light infantry. Yeah, heavy. Yeah,
Yeah,
these are. Yeah,
they were devastating
yeah,
to encounter.
yeah. With yeah, yeah. They are on their way
Otherwise, I
Burma.
think it was template-wise pretty standard. Japanese went for infantry. Everyone went for infantry. We were talking about, or I was thinking about going tanks, but no one went tanks, so yeah, didn't need them really.
Yeah, and the not much of an air game here either, was it? Not sure.
I don't think so. I know Japan built a few flying boats, but not much.
Yeah, okay. And so Japan at this point, yeah, they yeah, like a hardcore marine build.
Yeah,
Probably with a lot of, I guess these are Emperor's finest. No, or are all? Here we go.
yeah, there it
These are
is.
the Marines. Yeah, yeah, and these guys. Yeah, these are the heavy
Yeah,
punchers. The
yeah, and you
sounds.
really felt that experience fighting with them. It was
Yeah,
defending was one thing, but when they punched through and it was mobile warfare down in Burma, ooh,
yeah,
they
exactly.
were really, really tough.
Yeah, and they went for yeah classical infiltration build.
Yeah,
Um,
it was really, really close at certain times there.
yeah, so they ended up pushing almost all the way up here, right, to Dhaka.
Yeah.
But since you had more control on the seas, they could not really naval invade you, could they? Or no?
No, they couldn't. And one of the good things with them pushing forward was that I had like 80 subs in Bay of Bengal in the end, just sub-raiding them extremely hard.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So they did like a World War One strategy just to push and punch through seriously in Burma, and they almost made it until you stopped them at the Decca line. That's pretty much it, right?
That's pretty much it.
And then it was like like one proper naval engagement between the main fleets that ended up with like U.S. victory draw kind of with two
Yeah,
sank
US victory,
battleships.
but not
Yeah, not devastating at all.
no.
And after that, there was just a sub game in the Pacific and some island jumping where the US took some islands back, right?
Yeah, and we had one great maneuver in south of Siam where Australia and Holland.
Oh,
Holland made
that's
a
right. Let's have a look at that.
airdrop,
Yeah.
and Australia made a naval invasion on the port on the Bay of Bengal,
Yeah, here we see.
and
Yeah.
really killed a lot of troops.
Yeah, okay. Was it?
So, but that they made one first engagement which failed, and I think it was a year later or something. They really made it work and took everything standing against Singapore. But they never really made a push against Singapore. They made most efforts against the Burma line.
Yeah. And how was Australia here? Australia was responsible for the Singapore defense. I
Yeah,
guess these are Marines, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. When did they attack? Was this about now as well?
yeah. It was at the same time as Barbarossa, I think.
Yeah, okay. And
So it
yeah,
might be in July or something like that.
yeah,
But yeah,
some forward defending here as well.
yeah. And I don't. I'm not sure. Yeah, we could look at the 43 save down here also. But in the end game, I think we sank like 1,500 convoys or something. 1,000 for the US player and 500 for from India,
Yeah,
which made the Japanese really just trying to get out convoys and being quite stuck.
yeah. I read the comments here. The Polish blew up Rome before leaving. Sticky got a Warsaw Uprising event, damaging all factories in Rome. Ah,
That's amazing.
MVP Poland. Okay. With his brave sacrifice. Okay, so let's have a look at the last save as well.
Should
Um,
we just stay and finish off the Pacific theater and then go back
yeah, let's
to
do
Europe?
that while we have it fresh in our heads.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And if there's someone after we round off the last things, want to add something, just write it in the comment field as well. Let's see.
Let's go for Japanese.
Okay, let's
The
go
Japling.
tag Jap. Yeah, here you can see the line has been pushed up here.
Yeah. But their main problem here was, yeah, the line was really thick. I think I had 2,500 soft attack or something like that on my Mountaineers. So it was, yeah, quite impossible to get through. But look at the convoys. He had 8 convoys left. You can look at my submarine force. I think like 100 submarines or something like that later on. And the only thing he was
Yeah,
doing with his dockyard was trying to
yeah,
push out
you
convoy.
see here what happened, right?
Yeah,
What's the Indian core attack defense on this stage from focus? Yeah, that's right. I think since they took Burma, you lost your buffs, which is no 10% still. Is that thanks to Singapore? Okay, or is that something else that I'm missing? No, that's the core attack. But is this where does the core territory start? Yeah, this is core.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you still
Just look
have.
at my fleet. I want to see my subfleet. Sorry for everyone not interesting, but I love my subfleet.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. But the real thing here is that you can tell that the Japanese, if they are down on 8 convoys, it's pretty much over for them.
Yeah,
And you can see here, yeah, And here are the US. Yes, as I'm trying to enable them back though. That's brave. Yeah. Um, yeah, you see here, the raiding is happening everywhere. Let's have a look at the US player. Yeah, there's a lot of raiding happening.
Yeah.
Bleeding
Yeah.
down quick. Yeah. And we are in July 43. Yeah. All right. But on the land side here, they took 2.5 million losses. Yeah. And what happened in Australia? And we have India 600k, Netherlands 120k. Where's Philippines?
Don't see them.
7k. Yeah. They got some fighting too. And then, yeah. All right. Let's go back to the North African theater. So this is, yeah, so this was staged at the end of the game. These are ditties, they were really tough. I think Sticky did a really good game in general. Like he threw us out together with his Balkan friends, of course, and the Germans, but threw us out a couple of times.
Yeah.
And this is where the landing is now happening. And as you can see from a Axis perspective, oh, yeah, there's not much here to defend right now. Just some
No.
Vichy troops. And the landing is stacking up. Ready! With troops on the way and armor and more troops standing ready. And
Yeah, at this stage it was over.
yeah,
I think the Axis would have an extremely hard time.
I mean, what I kind of missed though, I mean, it is not over at this point because you have these bad boys still in the field. 8 medium tanks and 12 heavy assault guns.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I've seen Germany come back from worse. So it's not over, but you see these stats.
That's kind of a heavy. Yeah, that's a heavy tank.
Yeah, exactly. If you
Yeah, yeah,
have
yeah.
12 of those, um, you can definitely make things happen. I mean, we've seen the Soviets push in all the way to Berlin once or twice, and then getting cut off, encircled, killed, and then be pushed back.
Yeah.
I mean, the probability of that happening in this game as well, where Allies is still really strong in land force as well. So it would have been a split fight. I mean, it's very small that the Axis would have solved it. I mean, they surrendered, but
Yeah.
could have happened.
Could have been a fun fight,
Yeah,
at least.
definitely. Um, yeah, let's see. Is there anything else we should have a look at?
Losses on the Soviet
Mm,
front. How many died?
2 points. Yeah, not that much. 2.75, and Germany lost to the Soviets 2.5. Yeah, it's like a 1-1 kill death ratio,
Yeah.
basically. And then we have the. Is this all the Italian losses? Maybe it is. I'm not sure. Or did I disappear when they changed to Social Republic?
No, I think it's everything because I killed
Oh,
those 160 was from Ethiopia.
I just got a tip. There might be
A
a
tip?
major naval battle between Jap and the US happening.
Ooh.
Where? No. No.
I saw something outside Japan.
There's just subs.
Your subs everywhere.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Up there now, that was a little small battle.
Okay, but we have to look at this though. We have to have a look at the Italian fleet, if it's still alive or not.
Yeah.
I mean, it is still alive. Yeah, someone claimed that.
Oh,
Yeah, but then no one sank the fleet.
that's not a small fleet.
No, exactly. So the Italian fleet is. I mean, it's not a dangerous fleet, but it's not that small. But no, so there were no U.S. fleet coming in and sinking something. That someone said.
No.
No. All right. Uh, I think Sticky might have been drunk. Yeah. Imagine. Yeah. But yeah, and I think at this point, I think the Hungarians they got back on their feet with some armor at least, if they didn't lose it. Yeah, so now they have some proper troops that they planned from the start. But and let's see, tag. I think also the Bulgarians finally figured out their build at this point as well, after some initial hiccups. Yeah, here are some. Yeah, yeah, more traditional Bulgarian build.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anything else anyone wanna have a look at? I just want to say I think it was fun to have a uh, Polish player playing all the way. I think we haven't really had that.
No, and making a difference also,
Yeah,
not just.
this is creative. Um, okay, if Mossberg, yeah, you're here, Mossberg. Why do you have the motorized instead of the? I'm not sure if you know this, but you could have changed those to these instead, and you would still
Yeah.
have the same speed. Yeah, that would have saved you some trucks, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but apart from that, it's yeah. Um, yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Uh,
Almost exactly an hour of
almost
analyzing.
almost exactly an hour. Yeah. Yeah, I see it must be. Yeah, but I don't think I went that far ahead and had a lot of trucks. Yeah, could have been. But also, I mean, the trucks do add you a little bit of hardness, so it's not fully bad. Oh, sticky here. My convoy escorts were hit in the med, but my main fleet was safe in South Venice. Yeah.
Illegal Polish
W-
divisions. Yeah.
was it though? I mean, it's yeah, it may be, but it's not
I'm not sure. Oh,
intentionally good. It's bad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine. Oh,
But it
wait,
was a really
wait,
fun game.
wait.
What? What? What?
Here's Finland. I have. What is this kind of atrocity? This is a freak show. So Finland is basically Serbia.
Finnish Belgrade.
Okay, this I like. So Finland is back and he has his small little country with some factories. Yeah, I
They
like that.
found another place in the world liking
Yeah,
vodka.
yes. This is definitely an honorable mention. Finland got some land. Yeah. And actually we Poland, the Polish player, the last time we had a Polish player, he actually asked for these islands as well, the Baleares. So you could have asked for some claimed Italian territory, Spanish territory next time to get some more manpower.
Oh.
Could have been an idea. All right. Are we
Yeah.
calling it a day? Thank you so much everyone for listening in, and I hope you enjoyed this one, and please give us feedback as well to this format. We did somewhat of a more of a script this time than last time, but we're still in development to do this more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
thank you. Bye everyone.
See you guys.